Hello, everyone. Since today's guest comes from Brazil, I thought it would be appropriate to do a blooper in Portuguese, and I have to ask your forgiveness in advance. Portuguese is not one of my languages, and I'm sure the Brazilians in the audience and other Portuguese speakers will tremendously criticize my horrible pronunciation, but I will give it a try. And just as a reminder, people, yes, nationalities have different ways of pronouncing vowel sounds. And as many of you know from perhaps hearing speakers of Spanish or Portuguese, there are certain sounds that Spanish speakers and Portuguese speakers do not say very clearly in English, which we will illustrate in this blooper. So the Portuguese says, praia limpa, now deixe lixo na área, which basically means please do not litter. And the sign said in English, please do not litter. Everyone loves a clean bitch, instead of a clean beach, of course. And this is exactly why you need to use a professional language agency to review slogans and company names and product names before you enter any new foreign market, to be sure that what you're saying is not offensive at all in those languages. So today's guest is Atlanta-based Danila Palmieri. Danila brings over 20 years of experience in financial services, manufacturing, mining, and metals companies in Brazil, Spanish America, and the United States. She has served as human resources and organizational development manager in Brazil, and she has also helped lead M&A processes in Spanish America and Brazil, working to integrate the cultures of the acquired companies. In 2013, she moved to the United States and founded Connect Solutions, intending to support Brazilian companies operating in the US and focused on strategic management planning, organizational development, recruitment and selection, employee relations, compliance, American labor law, and adaptation to the local culture. In Atlanta, she has been part of the Brazilian American Chamber of the Southeast USA team for 7 years and chairman for 1 year. And for 5 years, she served as a member of the board of the World Trade Center Atlanta. Welcome, Danila. Delighted that you're with us today.
Thank you so much, Felipe. I have to congratulate you because the majority of people will try only the obrigada, right? Or the bom dia, not the whole, phrase and with some words that might be tricky. And you did well. Your pronunciation, I could say it's understandable for us. So thank you so much and great job.
My pleasure. Thank you. Let's start with the US as a frame of reference. When doing business with Brazilian companies, what are some of the fundamental issues that Americans need to know about?
Okay, I think one of the discrepancy about our culture, right? And of course, understanding culture in a different country is really important, right? When you do business, you just said, like, you have to reveal when you communicate, when you're writing, to be sure, right, that we are not doing a major mistake when we are communicating in a different language in a different country. So the major difference I see, it's like, as a Brazilian, we love to know people, right? We love to know personal information. We ask a lot of personal information, right? It is something I always tell my clients here in the US and say, hey, when you go to an interview, don't ask about your candidate personal life, right? This is against the law. So
right.
When they say, oh my God, how this could be? Because in Brazil, the ice-breaking questions, we always start, hey, Philip, right? How are you? Or where do you live? Oh, did it take long for you to commute here? Oh, are you married? Do you have kids? How old is your kids? Oh, where they go to school? Oh my God, what your soccer team is your favorite? right? What kind of wine do you like it? Anyways, and the talking going on and on and on. So this is important. So Americans, when go to Brazil, be prepared, because it's kind of, usual conversation. We like to create a relationship. We like to get to know people, right? Not only in their professional skills and experience, but also in their personal life, the hobbies, where they like to travel to, the experience they have. So that is something important to know and not to be scared of, because in Brazil, you're going to probably be asked this kind of questions.
Right. So I'm sure Brazilian companies would ask a person his or her age, would ask a woman if she's married, and those kinds of questions that American law prohibits. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's usual. In our resume, mainly you put your home address, your phone number, sometimes a picture. Sometimes you say, I'm married, 46 years old, one kid, in the resume, right? And here it's totally, and I can tell you, Philip, like over 10 years working here, right, in the American market, bringing Brazilian companies. Now I feel like, oh my God, we should ask this type of questions. More and more in Brazil, we are changing this as well, right? Some we are kind of adapt to this, but on the daily basis, it's our culture, get to know people, in a personal life. I think other thing that is always different, it's about time, right? Usually here in the US, when we're inviting somebody to a party, or you have a reception, or even kids' birthday party, right? My daughter have a birthday party today that is 4:30 to 6. And that's it, 4:30, everybody's there, 6 p.m., bye, thank you, right? In Brazil, it's not kind of that, right? We say, like, we schedule a lunch for noon, people will start showing up 12:30. And we never set up a time to end something, right? So sometimes on the weekends, let's have a barbecue. And this barbecue starts 12 p.m. and go all the way through 6 p.m. in some families, right? And I can tell you that is something that I like here in the US, because you can plan accordingly, right? And on the business side, of course, we respect more, but it's not unusual to people arrive 10, 15 minutes late, right? And sometimes you set up a 30 minutes. Actually, here in the US, we set up like, let's have a Zoom call, 30 minutes. In Brazil, now for me, it's so interesting that people put on my calendar 1 hour. And I said, oh my God, 1 hour for what? Right? But because we talk a lot of amenities, a lot of things that outside the topic, and then we go to the topic. So here in the US, we are more objective, straight to the point. In Brazil, we, as I said, like to get to know people a little bit. So we kind of spend a little time, get to know them, and then go straight to the topic. So that I believe is some differentiation that can impact, right? And when, as an American, be prepared of when we are in Brazil and we are meeting with Brazilians, executives, Brazilian companies in a professional level, we can expect this kind of behavior. I see more now that Brazilian companies are coming here, right? We are kind of also changing a little bit, but still it's part of our culture, right? We don't change that so easily.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Actually, the part about resumes, that's very common in Europe also. And it's illegal in this country because it's considered discriminatory. And many cultures, as I've said in previous podcasts, most cultures outside the United States are really about getting to know the candidate or getting to know the potential partner with whom you're going to do business on a personal level. And after you learn all of these wonderful personal details, that develops the trust from which the relationship can blossom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very, Latin American, European, Middle Eastern, Asian way of doing business as well.
Mm-hmm.
Companies in Brazil operate by different sets of rules than they do in the United States. Can you speak about some of those rules, for example?
Yes, I can speak about the labor law more in details. So in Brazil, we have a CLT, that is our labor law, and mainly is federal. That is another differentiation here, right? In the United States, we have differentiation between states. In Brazil, no, it's federal law is the same for all the states. We don't have major differentiation in the states as we have here, right? When you go to California, some labor laws apply there that is not the same in Florida, and so on and so forth. No, in Brazil, it's just one. And they, once you are an employee under this CLT labor law, your employer has to give you 30 days vacation, has to pay you that we call the 30th salary. So instead I have 12-month payment, I have 12 months plus 1 month. Usually by the end of the year, they pay that. They pay, of course, our vacation, has some rules about vacation. We can only have a vacation after 12 months of employment, 30 days that you can kind of, usually 2 weeks, or 20 days, 10 days. And also it's not only work days, but it's 30 days all straight with the weekends, holidays. We don't count only work days as we do here, right? Another thing is maternity leave. We have 6 months, between 4 and 6. More and more Brazilian companies now, they offer 6-month maternity leave that the companies pay moms, like full salary for the 6 months. And sometimes you can bring your vacation together, right? And you can put all these, and if you have also some extra hours, right, that you can take it, you can put all together and stay home, I don't know, 8 months. So
is there a paternity leave also for fathers or just for mothers?
Just for mothers. What companies are doing now, it's kind of have some parental leave for daddies. The law gives 5 days after the child was born, but the mom stay home. And also has some laws that you can breastfeed office as well, that allow you to do that. Your employer cannot restrict that. So it is kind of differentiations between the relationship between employer and employee. Here in the US, we are very it's based on the contract, right, that the employer-employee has, even though you have your guidelines, your policies. Maybe for Danila, my vacation-wise, I give 15 days, but Danila comes with this 20 plus years. She's already have, so we negotiate. In Brazil, it's the same, no matter how many years in the market, no matter which level you are in the organizations, a senior level, an entry level. By law, you're going to have 30 days vacation after 1 year or 12 months worked for that employer.
Very interesting.
Also, if you terminate it, the company will pay a fee because of that. And as here, we pay our taxes, right? Like SUTA, FUTA, and so on and so forth. We pay more or less the same in Brazil. And the company pays the part and your part. But if you are terminate the company, kick you out, they have to pay this tax that they pay for you. They have to give you back, let's say this way. So when you are unemployed, the company pays a fee for that as well.
And does Brazil have unemployment insurance? National
Yes,
unemployment
also has an employment insurance that also here you apply for the local government, and for a couple of months, based on your salary. Of course, they're not gonna pay you, right? If you earn a lot of money, they're gonna pay like a percentage. They have like tiers, right? Depends on your salary, but has a cap for it as well.
Very interesting. Again, that sounds very similar to European law.
Yeah.
In many countries, not all. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What is the management style in Brazilian companies? Is it more top-down, where the boss makes the decision and the employees implement the boss's desires, or is it where upper management welcomes input from below and then adapts accordingly? Mm-hmm. Is there a trend?
Yeah, the trend is more and more involving the team, more and more horizontal structures than the hierarchy, right? Mm. But I will say, depend on the company, depend on the culture. You have a variation on that. I believe, like here in the US, like if you have a family on, they might act different from a corporation, right? But if you go to corporations, if you go, to these big companies, they are towards, to a more shared leadership, shared opinions, involve the team. I don't see really big difference between Brazil and here. More and more startups, right? More and more new market companies that we've been seeing the past 20 years, right? They kind of manage the same. And in Brazil, we use a lot of concepts, methodologies, authors, right? So many things we learn from America about leadership, emotional intelligence, how to create teams, how to retain, how to reveal performances, review, etc., etc. We use there a lot of techniques, methodologies that were created here in the US, were applied in the US from big universities as well. So I don't see huge differentiation. What I see different is the way we work. What I mean to say is, here in the US, I always tell my clients this. Well, if you hire someone to pack something, he's going to pack. He's not going to unpack. Right? So you have to have a pack and unpack. Right? Yes. You don't ask for the packing guy to unpack or to the unpacking guy to pack. In Brazil, it's like we are multitask. Usually, I had a client on a day, they called me saying, hey, we are having problem here in the US. We cannot retain people. People are not coming to work for us because we ask them to do different things, but they cannot. Like in Brazil, it's kind of, we work as a team. We have to pack a lot of stuff. We ask the unpacking guy to come and let's do this, and this guy gonna help you there. Here, they don't want to do that, right? So that's, for me, it's the differentiation in how do I manage my team, how do I talk to them, right? This is my job description. That's how you expect it from me. Mm-hmm. So this flexibility in Brazil, we have more flexibility. like that.
I think what you're talking about is more unionized employers here.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many people does it take to change a light bulb? One to hold the ladder, one to get the bulb, and one to actually unscrew it, and another to screw it, because there are 4 different jobs among unions in the US, of course.
True.
So yes, it depends on the company, but yes, what you're talking about is very true.
I'm very being extreme, just to
I was also
give you an example, right? But it's the way cultural wise I see the differentiation, right? But of course, when you go to a corporation, an office, is different, right? Not this.
Right. What about strategic planning? Do Brazilian companies operate in a different way or have different assumptions that American or European companies would?
Yes, I believe in Brazil, you know, like in Brazil, we have a lot of instability, right?
Yes.
There was a minister in Brazil that used to say that in Brazil, even the past is unpredictable. Right. So that's where we rely on a lot in our strategy, right? What the government changing impacts, because if you change the government, they change everything. It's not like it is in the US. Of course, we see some change when we have, right, shifting governments, but we can keep something going more smoothly. In Brazil, we have these ups and downs and ups and downs, you know, so when we plan strategically, we bring this unpredictability to our strategy, right? And also, once we are not a country as in the US, where our economy, internal economy, right, can hold everything. In Brazil, we don't have that power, right? That our consumers will hold that power to our economy. So we have to export a lot. We have to more and more became global, right? The companies are more and more looking, the ones that is not already international started to study more and more. So that's, I believe, is the main differentiation. Everything else, right, is the same, like what my competitors are going, where they are in the world. Like in the mining company, I worked 10 years of my life in the mining, in metal industry. So every year we did a strategic planning for 5 years, and then kind of every year we reveal. So we were saying, what is new projects coming in the world? So we're going to have more metal in the industry, where they are, China, what is the price, where they are coming from. So this type of information that any company uses, right? But in Brazil, we focus a lot in our unpredictability, right? And the tax is not easy. Here in the US, is not easy. In Brazil, same way, very complicated, right?
Many companies have contingency plans, but because of the unpredictability, do many companies in Brazil have like plan A if this, plan B if that, plan C if this?
Yes, we do. Different scenarios, yes.
Very interesting. In many ways, Brazil is still a developing country. Do Brazilian and foreign companies, foreign invested companies, find any issues with the labor force, such as levels of education or lack of supply at certain skill levels that they're looking for?
Well, you have to be conscious where, right? As US, we are a big country, right? We have, like, I'm from São Paulo, big city, right? 20 million people, right? In the great São Paulo. It's different when you go to more to the northeast, right? That we don't have a lot of professional. In Brazil, we have the majority of the companies, they have offices in Brazil, right? So depends on where you are, and depends on in the industry, right? Tech industry mainly is being developed more in the southeast, right? Even though we have some investment, but if you go like agriculture, you have more in the central of Brazil, Midwest, and also in the Northeast. So really depends what are you looking for. In Brazil, we have a lot of great professionals that has international experiences that, you know, speak different language. Of course, we don't have, as here, we have sometimes some issues about Brazilians speaking a good English, right? So when they come here, some of my clients, oh, now I have to learn real English. I said, yes, to education, right? Cannot be the McDonald's English or the Starbucks English. But we've been, you might be aware of, more and more companies here in the US are hiring tech people in Brazil, right? Engineers, software developers, etc., because we have in Brazil innovation, creativity, right? And also for the price point, it's cheaper. If I have my income in dollars and pay in reais, right? So more and more we see this happening. And of course, what is better, we are kind of the same time zone, different from Europe, from India, right? So more and more we've been seeing this happening in the tech industry, let's say this way.
Yeah, very interesting. That leads to a question about foreign direct investment or foreign investors in general. What kind of adaptations must they make when they are acquiring or starting a business in Brazil?
Well, I believe the same. I'll tell to my Brazilians clients, right? Understand the culture, understand how to do business, understand the market, understand who are your customers and how they buy things, right? We have to change our mindset. I had an opportunity to work with a company that they were developing some drinks in Brazil, right? They were preparing like a prepared drinks, like you just add, I don't know, vodka or something else, but you have that mixture. And they are doing this in Brazil, and they asked me to try this Moscow Mule, or this Manhattan, or this old fashioned, right? And when I try it, I say, guys, it's really good, but it's a Brazilian taste. It's not American taste. If I compare a Manhattan that I drink here in the US and a Manhattan that you are giving me, for Americans, they're going to say, this is not a Manhattan. This is something else. Taste is good, but it's something else. It's not a Manhattan, right? So this is important to understand, right, what our consumers value, our taste, our, right? Starbucks, when they started in Brazil, they have to step back a little bit and reroute, because we like cafezinho, right? We like espresso. So I don't drink American coffee. I drink. After 10 years in the US, I drink less and less espresso. But in Brazil, right? It's the smaller cups, right? So we have to adapt. It's the same way when I tell Brazilians to come here and say, hey, understand Americans' mindset, what they value most. If the same customer persona here is the same in Brazil, maybe your product in Brazil, it's for men. Maybe here is not only for men, women can also buy it. So it's the same, I would say, for Americans. Really look at the Brazilian market as a white page. Go there, open your ears, listening, understanding, try to see between lines how people behave, really check if the same customer persona here will be the same there in demographics, right? All over where they are, what they are valued, because probably will be different.
And that leads to a question about marketing methods. So when you talk to Americans, in many cases, the pitch is about money. This is going to save you money or save you time, perhaps, or be it a discount or something like that. Value for the money. What about the marketing pitches in Brazil? Are there any general rules that or trends that apply?
Yeah, I would say that in Brazil, we go less in the logical side. Logical side kind of be a second, right? I'm gonna see like, oh, and it has maybe more in the emotional side, like what this program will change my life. I will look better. I will, this will enhance something that I'm looking for. And then price will be something, right? As you know, Philip, like in Brazil, and I was just left a meeting with a client saying about that, is here in the US, you ask me, hey, Danila, how much is this pen? Oh, $100. And that's it. In Brazil, we're going to say it's $100. And they're going to come to me and say, hey, Danila, but could you sell to me for 80? You know, could you maybe instead give me the whole pen, you take the cap off, and this give me a discount? So it's part of our culture to negotiate, right?
Negotiating, yes.
And here in the US, this is $100 if you like it, right? And we respect that. We don't put value on things and on people, right? We respect what they are value, and we kind of analyze that, oh, makes sense for me, like the cost benefits, I can afford this cost, but we don't go there and bargain, right? Here in America. But in Brazil, we bargain. So this is another nuance, important nuance in business. We have to educate, like I used to work in another company that I was a founder as well, that we were trying to help Brazilian companies bring their product here. So we were running quotes. And more than one time we were asking that this is your best price, because here nobody will negotiate. If you put some fatty, take it off, because they're not gonna come back to you. They will say, oh, it's too expensive, thank you so much. And that's it. So really send us your best price to be competitive, right? Really study well and give us the best price. So this happened more than one time.
Very interesting. I mean, in this country also, you can negotiate, especially if you're doing B2B and you're buying in bulk, you're buying multiple items of something, of course. But are you saying even in department stores in Brazil, people can negotiate prices?
No, sometimes what we negotiate, the usual question is this. Because in Brazil, we now start seeing here in the US, but it's not something that we are used to. When you go buy a cell phone, for example, we go to AT&T in Brazil. Usually they say, hey, it's these cell phones you can buy in 15 times. And what we usually say, oh, if I pay you cash now, how much it will be? What will be the discount you gave me? Right? So we're not going to negotiate like if I'm buying groceries at the supermarket, that's the price. But we're going to negotiate mainly for services, or if I'm buying something like a house, a car, jewelry, something major, we kind of asking always like, oh, do you have any discount on that? This is the final price. Can I pay in different installments? How many?
Right.
No fees. So this is the kind of negotiation we do on the daily basis.
Does this apply to the industrial sector as well as to the commercial sector equally?
Yes, like if you buy, like I used to work in aluminum company, right? To sell a lot of tons and tons in aluminum and all metals. The price is coming for the metal exchange, right? It's a commodity.
Right.
But when you go, they kind of negotiate like the price, and so we can see how many tons, if you are buying to me once, if you are buying to me in a long-term contract, what kind of services I'm adding. So this negotiation happens in the procurement area all the time. Of course, like here, quoting different providers, right? And sometimes come back, hey, Danila, I liked you, but I also like it, Maria. Maria is offering this, you are offering that, but Maria is charging 10% less. Can you do it for 10% less?
Right.
So this happens.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. I know you've worked elsewhere in Latin America. How do these trends compare to the Spanish-speaking countries?
I had experience in Colombia, in Peru, mainly, a little bit in Argentina, and here. I feel kind of the same. I think it's our Latin culture, right? Came from our ancestors from Italy, from Portugal, from Spain.
Right.
A little bit different some parts, but I believe the root is the same.
Makes perfect sense. When a company is selling to the Brazilian consumer sector, you mentioned about, I think, how this product can improve your life, for example, or make you more beautiful or something like that. Are there any other appeals, benefits or appeals that companies should consider?
Oh, I will come back the answer that understand our culture in a sense that we like a relationship, right? So how do I communicate, or how do I tag this important part of our culture to feel personal, to feel my life in the personal level will be impacted. In the personal life can be for my family, can be, you know, from my relatives, my community, right? This is an important thing to consider.
Very interesting. Also, is there anything else you'd like to add before we close?
No, Philip, I think we tagged Brazil. It's a beautiful country. It's a country with a lot of opportunities, but it's not for beginners, right? If our audience here thinking about investing or doing business in Brazil, I would say find somebody reliable that can help you navigate through all the different legislations for business, right? Rely on local people to help you understand all that. I always say, you know, we use a lot the Brazilian American Chamber of Commerce in Brazil, also go to American consulate, or really find partners there that are reliable. And I would say if you have someone from Brazil in your team, leading will help you even more. That's what I would like to add.
And that's wonderful advice. I love that Brazil is not for beginners.
Yes, no, it's not.
It's great. Well, thank you so much, Danila. This has been absolutely wonderful and very informative. And really for our audience, I think if I recall correctly, Brazil is the 5th largest country in the world, both in terms of land size as well as population.
Mhm.
So in terms of population, it's now India, China. It was China, India, but now it's India, China. I think United States, Russia, and Brazil, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm. Yeah, I
And
believe
I
it's
think
the
in terms
order.
of land size, it's again very similar in that. Well, Russia obviously is the biggest.
Yeah, we used to say that we are not bigger than the US because of Alaska,
Ah, yes, right.
that we like to, you know.
Yes. Well, you add Alaska, it's like 1/3 of the continental United States right there, with
Exactly.
1/12 of the people or something. Yes.
Exactly.
Good. Well, thank you very, very much again. This has been a wonderful pleasure, and delighted that you joined us today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Philip. It was a pleasure being here as well.
Thank you.